Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Michael Zuber, author of One Rent Time. And it is Saturday, June 5th. This is your live Q&A. We do this most Saturdays. I probably take off 5 to 8 Saturdays a year. And we just do live Q&A. Do me a favor, if you want to ask me a question, just go ahead and interact with me in a comment. If you want to say good morning, hello, anything of that nature, go ahead and leave a comment in the chat. What I will do for the next 10 or 15 minutes is I will go through a list of questions that I've captured throughout the week. Then at that point, probably 15, maybe 20 minutes in, I will go back to the chat box. I will scroll all the way to the top, and we will answer your questions, or I will call you out and say good morning. This is just a fun Saturday routine. I enjoy these days. It allows me to go deeper into your questions. It allows me to see what's kind of on your mind. And then again, if you're one of my students, realize we will be going into the Facebook Live at 9 o'clock. And I do have a couple of questions. We will start there. So again, feel free, leave a comment. Good mornings, hello, questions. This is for you. So let's have some fun. So I'll just go through, I guess we'll go top to bottom. So the first question I get a lot actually is, do I think the CDC eviction moratorium will be extended? And the answer is, I just don't know how they could. I think it's very clear that the CDC as an organization is on shaky ground. I don't think they like all of the losses they've suffered in court. I think the crisis, for the most part, if not all of it, is behind us. I don't see how they could extend it. So I think the national CDC eviction moratorium will not be extended. That means you as an investor need to ask yourself about your state, right? Because your governors, mine being Pretty Boy, can absolutely extend it. I think California is September. I haven't checked. I think it's September. No, I think it's over. It wouldn't shock me, just given the lawyers and attorneys I've spoken with over the last year, that there isn't some kind of lawsuit, maybe even a class action, that ultimately is filed and hits the CDC hard. Because I think it's clear they overreached. I think it's clear they went against the U.S. Constitution, which I don't take lightly. But again, the wheels of justice move slow. Every attorney I talked to said that this crisis will be long over before that comes. But I hope the powers that be, the landlords, I hope somebody out there with deep pockets takes on that challenge and goes against and hits the CDC, so there's not this government overreach again. The U.S. Constitution has been there for a long time, and I did not take it lightly that they went against that. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. So no, I don't think the CDC eviction is extended, but there will be plenty of states. I happen to reside in one that will go on past that. I think Pretty Boy has it out till September. Next up, somebody asked yesterday, I think it was my interview with Jonathan from Thursday, where I said I had a quote about, you can go broke buying cheap. Now, in that conversation with Jonathan Twomley, we were talking about Class A and Class C properties. And I related that conversation to what I see a lot of folks do is, they feel they live in an expensive part of the world, right? Expensive part market. And they get enamored with what they see on Bigger Pockets or YouTube University about other areas. I can't tell you how many times I've had an investor say, I can buy a house for less than my car. Now, while that's maybe intellectually stimulating and a really odd thing to say, that doesn't mean you're going to make money. That's what I mean by going broke buying cheap, right? If you're buying a house for 30 or 40 or 50 grand, it may be cheap to purchase, But maybe it is horrible to operate, right? Yes, maybe you can become the owner of a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, cute Tudor or Craftsman home in a state far, far away. But what happens if you try to remodel it and people keep breaking in and stealing copper or wood or appliances? And what happens if you can't get any good tenants and you're evicting 3 people a year and all of that? So what I've tried to tell people is you can go broke buying cheap. Don't believe Excel. Don't believe all of these people proponents to say, you know, do this or do that or be in this city. You got to do the legwork, folks. You got to build. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. Don't believe Excel. Get your butt off the couch and go fly to that other area and see what it's all about. Talk to other investors. If you find a 40K house on the MLS in some city and it's been listed, if it's been listed for like more than 5 seconds, like if it's been listed for 30 days, do you really think that you found that one-off house that fell through the cracks that no local investor would buy? We have a supply problem, and I guarantee you that house has been looked at by every local investor and they passed. Why'd they pass? Well, it's either overpriced or it'll be a horrible hold, right? Yeah. So again, that's what I meant by you can go broke buying cheap. Now that applies to apartments, as Jonathan likes to say, with cap rates collapsing, compressed. Class C value add may have a lower cap rate and a higher price than Class A or Class B. And Jonathan is very adamant that he is going to be focused mainly on Class A, Class B. If you go back and listen to his first interview, which again he has a playlist on this channel, he'll go through that. He bought some Class C value add as he was building his $30 million portfolio. So lots of stuff going on. Next up, we have demand, supply, and affordability. I had lots of questions about all of these, and I just kind of lumped them together. First one, demand. Demand is actually extremely high, right? It's demand is historically high, and we need to appreciate that. It's not only a supply problem, right? There may be misconceptions out there that demand is kind of usual, but given low supply, it appears like it's a lot. I want you to realize that no, demand is higher than normal. The crisis we have come out of, the low rates, the millennials becoming first-time buyers versus renters, baby boomers aging in place or actually moving. Demand is actually higher than normal. And it's that fact on top of what we'll talk about next, record low supply, that has had prices go up. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this yesterday. If you don't, why not? It's a little page called One Rental at a Time. I shared I guess it's an image, it's a graph of something I found yesterday. I think it was Jim Burns Real Estate Consulting I got it from, talking about expected home appreciation in the next 12 months to be 16%. 1-6. Now, some of that, as you read the report, is an extension of a skewed base, right? We're transacting more and more higher end homes versus lower end, which skews the median. But still, 16% after a 12.9, call it 13% year. Woo. Yeah, that's demand supply imbalance. So again, demand is high. And demand is high owner occupied, and demand is high Wall Street. This is something I was not even looking at January 1st of this year. Wall Street's not playing. Wall Street's got cheap money chasing yield. Something that this Fed low rates has caused is a mad rush for yield. And you can't get it in commercial today. So Wall Street's come into single family homes. I am more confident in the one rental at a time methodology for individuals, right? Get your four, get one, then get four. Because Wall Street, inside of a decade, it could go from owning less than 1% of single family homes to 5 or 6%. That may not sound like a lot, but in a world where we are not building enough, and you realize, again, a great conversation I had with Aaron Norris, once Wall Street buys one, it's never coming back. It will always be a rental home. If those facts are true, and they likely are, the only answer is go get you some cash flow positive, no alligators, rental properties, and just let the supply and demand, help you. And oh, by the way, rents will go up. That's the big thing that's coming, in my opinion, right? We've seen now what will likely be 2 years of great home appreciation. But having done this before, right? 20 years doing this, what's coming? Rent increases. Rent increases. The demand for single family homes is going up, right? Rentals or owners. So it is, demand is real. So supply is kind of the reverse. While we have aged in with millennials buying, that demand and work from home and get out of high taxed areas, supply has been restricted. The move up buyers really haven't transacted in any great normal numbers. We kind of lost a year. But according to something I just discussed on the Daily Financial News this morning, so June 5th, Daily Financial News, there are early signs that a fair amount of homeowners are like, you know what? It is time to go. So we could be on the cusp of a supply increase. I think if you go back and watch that, we talked about 45% of homeowners going, yeah, we might list this summer. So if that's true, my 2 million call for active homes, which right now I think we're at 1.16, so still 840,000 listings to go, looks to be pretty good. And then affordability. This is one that I called out in this book. It is my North Star. It is what I use to tell me when housing is in a bubble. And right now in my market, housing is expensive, but it is by no means in a bubble. Payments are lower than last time, definitely because of interest rates. Incomes are up. That's the other factor in affordability, folks. If incomes go up, you can afford more. So again, affordability is what I watch. You should be watching it for your local market. All real estate is local, as Greg Dickerson and I talk about all the time on Mondays. Yeah, you've got to do the work, learn your market, but I do not see a bubble. Affordability can be changed overnight, most acutely by interest rates. If interest rates went from 3% to 6%, the market would cool instantly, for example. But yeah, so again, I watch affordability. It is, in my market at least, nowhere close to the danger zone. It's still in the 40s, mid 40s. I don't get nervous until it's in the mid 20s, for example. But yeah, that will be the governor. That will, when it gets below 30, at least in my market, learn what yours is. We should see pricing slow down for sure. As we're coming out of this crisis, I think we're going to find out why I've been so focused on consumers, right? Consumers drive our economy, 68.5% of our economy. You've heard me talk about in the Daily Financial News for a year, record savings. I think it was 1.6 trillion excess savings, which is amazing. We're going to start to find out if this crisis changed behavior. We are going to find out this summer. I believe this is the first crisis that will change consumer behavior. Changing consumer behavior is hard. We're creatures of habit. We may operate and make decisions individually, but we are operating in an ecosystem of our friends, our family, our work, our social circle. And most of us move with a herd. It's a very rare individual who kind of like is, nope, I'll go the other direction. But consumer psychology is always based on risk reward. It's not that simple because it's not really risk reward. It's perceived risk and reward. I bring this back to the supply concept from earlier conversation. Last year, the perceived risk of listing your home in the middle of a pandemic, pretty high. Was it actually high? Who cares? It was perceived to be high, and that changes behavior. So again, it will be interesting to see what happens after this. Do we have revenge spending on steroids? Because we got all this savings, might as well spend it. It's party time, party like it's 1999. Do we have rewards for emergency funds? Do we have rewards for home ownership, right? What is the perceived reward? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I think this will be the first crisis that actually changes behavior. It's we could see generational changes because of this, and it's going to be fun to watch. Next up, builders. I did a discussion on builders thanks to Ryan Nichols sending me a link to another article, or I think it was another YouTube video, where it was highlighting builder risk. And since I put that video out, I've had conversations with about a dozen builders, and they're all like, "You're right." And basically the realization is a lot of the public and government and people think building homes today is wildly profitable. It is absolutely not. Builders are stopping and slowing down because they are losing money. Go figure. Builders, the supply increases across the board, and the inability in contracts originally to raise prices. One builder told me they lost $500,000 on 4 spec homes that they built. Now, they've obviously adjusted contracts and all of that going forward, but builders run very lumpy cash flow statements. And one thing you will learn as an accountant or an econ major is a lot of people like to talk about net worth, balance sheet. How many of you have friends that go, "How much are you worth?" That's your balance sheet. Some of you like to talk about your income statement, how much you make. I like to talk about what you keep. But the most important financial statement is one nobody talks about, or very few people talk about, and that's the cash flow statement. I don't care what you make. I don't care what your net worth is. Stuff comes due, you're dead, bankrupt. And several of the builders said that they were shocked by how poor their cash flow statements were. Now, most of them were able to borrow and make it up. But if these dozen conversations are any indication, we could have some small builders and perhaps even big builders go bust, which is wild to think about. So be careful. Next up, Wall Street. This is something we first talked about in a video I did months ago called Investor Mania. It has been further validated by a conversation with Aaron Norris in, I think I called them Real Estate Royalty video. You need to watch those two. But Wall Street is, it's here to stay. Wall Street built and proved a model worked in the last crisis. They now have the infrastructure and frankly have the machine, and they need to feed the machine. They need to feed the beast. And right now the beast is gobbling up single family homes, specifically affordable homes. They're not buying $1 million estates or anything of that nature. They are buying stuff that you and I would buy for one rental at a time. They are focused on certain markets today, planting their flags, but that will grow over the next decade. They will be, I don't know, in most markets in the next decade. Cheap capital, systems in place, chasing yield. And again, I go back to the fact that I agree. Once Wall Street owns it, it ain't ever coming back. Because what will happen is they will build up an inventory of, I don't know, I'll pick on Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona for a minute. They'll build up a portfolio of 100 or 250 or 500 homes in Scottsdale. They'll own it, run it, get their yield, pay their investors, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe in a decade, they'll go, you know what? We're kind of tired of Phoenix. They're not going to list 250 homes one at a time. That's a joke. They will put it out to bid in their Wall Street community and say, who wants 250 homes in Phoenix? Package deal, one time. So yeah, once Wall Street plants a flag, that inventory is gone. Yeah, pretty crazy. All right, now the last thing I have, and again, remember folks, after this topic, I will go right back to the chat box, ask questions, good mornings. I will go to the top, scroll to the bottom. We will have some fun together. I just want to put here that I'm going to need your help. I just announced today that I'm trying to help students record 500 property acquisitions in the next 12 months. So January 1st to May 31st, 2022. 500 is a big goal. We only did 162 in 18 months. So we are ramping up. This is big enough to make me nervous, but still big enough to see us get there. So when you close a deal, you need to let me know. Leave a comment here, leave a comment in the Facebook group, tag me on Instagram, send me an email, smoke signals, don't care. Let me know. I'm going to need to know about everyone. The last 18 months, I wasn't begging to let me know. If it happened, great. If it didn't, no big deal. But at 500, I'm going to need everybody to tell me, hey, I got one. Count me in. I'm on it. This is how I kind of break it down and why I feel comfortable with 500. I think 100 of you will do 2 or more in the next 12 months. So that's, 100 of you will do 200, if that makes sense. And that means 300 of you will do 1. So that makes me feel good about the 500. And this is how I will break it down to get there. I expect 90 in the next 13 weeks because I break everything down by quarter. Blame my sales career for that. We will do 120 next quarter, 150 the quarter after that, and 180 in the final quarter. So we are going to ramp together. You need to do the work now, right? What I talk about is you need to do the work. You need to create your focus box. You need to look at it. I can help you build confidence in yourself, in your market. Then what you're going to find in the course, because I need to add more content in more areas. So that's one thing I know that will help get us to 500. Then you can find your lane, right? Do you want to flip? Do you want to buy and hold? Do you want to Airbnb? Do you want to out of state? Do you want to do local? What I tell you is it all starts with buying right. So you need to understand the basics of what I have and how to get started one rental at a time. Once you do that work in 60 days, then you can go find your lane. And of course, I'm going to keep adding more and more stuff to the course just to help you move forward. So if you have ideas on sections or bonuses or whatever you want to call it that might help, let me know. I am motivated to help more and more folks because 500 is just the right number for me to feel it's possible, but also scare me into working harder, if that makes sense. So let's see if we can get there. It should be fun. I think we're already at 6. The official number will come out tomorrow because I will report them on Sunday. So I think we're already making progress. So again, if you're going to close one, you got to let me know. I would appreciate it. All right. So now back to the top. Let's go back to the top and see what we're doing. Hey, Ultimate Bargains. Jeffrey, how are you? Good morning. Good morning, Sarn. How are you? Nathan, good morning. Justin, good morning. Is it good to rent a house furnished? Nathan, there are plenty of people that do that. Airbnb CEO is talking more and more about long-term stays in furnished apartments. I have never done it, but there are plenty of people that do. They get higher rents, obviously. There are professions that kind of go that way. Traveling nurses is the one that I think of the most. So yeah, it can be. You got to know your market. I don't know all markets. I have never rented one furnished. Have I? No, never rented one furnished. But yeah, it's possible. Nathan, good morning. How are you? John, okay. Good morning, Michael. If you have 2 properties with the same yield and in the same market, do you go with the property that needs less cash or the one with better cash flow? That's a good question. So for me, John, the answer is always yield first, as you know. I guess this would depend on where I am in my history, because I actually have two answers. If that was the first 5 years of my career, as I was building, it would be the one with less cash, because I was cash poor, frankly. So I needed my cash to help with the next down payments. So for the first 5 years, it would have absolutely been the one with the least cash. However, today, I would buy the one with better cash flow. So I hate to give you two answers, but that's just the truth. If I was building my foundation, I would go for the one with least upfront cash. Today, now that I'm done, I'm comfortable, I would do the one with better cash flow. Hope that makes sense. A nearby home listed several weeks ago reduced asking price from 1.5 to 1.575 to 1.5 if a buyer wants to deliver. Yep, of course. Yep. Price drops. Yep. CDC is illegal, declared by the federal. Yeah, several federal judges. Yes, it is, but that doesn't mean it can't get done. The wheels of justice turn slow, and I've had plenty of passionate discussions with attorneys and lawyers. It goes against the U.S. Constitution. It is absolutely illegal, but that doesn't mean they couldn't do it. I hope and pray something somewhere over an apartment association or somebody with deep pockets does a class action against the CDC so that in 2 years, whenever the wheels of justice finally catch up, the CDC gets smacked with a unbelievable penalty. But just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's not going to get done. Yep. In my area, homes built between 1920 and 1940s. Okay. My primary home was built in 45. I spent $2,800 on upgrades. It's not bad. Electrical up to code. My question, should I worry about buying older homes for rental? I own lots of homes that are older. You just need to budget correctly. You definitely should take a look at plumbing and electrical and mechanicals. Mechanicals usually have been fixed plenty of times. But yeah, you should. I have no problem buying older homes. I own a home that was built in 1898. At least that's what it says. It's amazing that an 1898 home is still there, and they just built them different. But I had to pay for the house to be completely rewired. It was significantly more than 2,800. I think it was $8,000, maybe 8,500. It was a couple years ago. But no, I don't mind old homes. You just got to do the check plumbing. Could be old pipes. I've had plenty of water main breaks or sewer breaks in older homes. But if you get the right discount for them, they are great, and they have a lot more charm. They look better with two-tone paints, two different colors, all that. So no, I don't bother them, but I definitely get them inspected. Yep. Hey Nathan, question: my tenant just left notice. Can you provide tips on determining new rental price? Hi Nathan. So yeah, I guess for me it's always easy. I call or speak with property managers. You can check Rentometer. Right now, I would tell you Rentometer, in my opinion, is behind. It seems to be a month or two behind. Rents are, again, I don't know your I don't know your market, Nathan. But most markets, rents are up big time, especially in houses. So I would go to Rentometer just to check. I would check Craigslist. I would call a couple of property managers. And again, you can call a property manager and say, hey, I'm looking, let's say your house is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Call a local property manager and say, hey, I'm looking to rent a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in this area of town. What do you think rent will, do you have anything? Be a tenant, ask. Yeah. So that's, again, in my houses, I haven't raised rent, or in a house in the last year or so, rents, I've raised my houses $200 to $400 after tenant turnovers. Yeah, rents are up in houses. Seems to be everywhere. Hey, Leo's Mini, how are you? Ultimate bargains, be careful. Oops, where do we go? Be careful when construction catches up to demand and prices decrease. Yeah, could be. Yeah. My cousin's rent's going up $300. Sorry about that. Kenny, hello. How are you? Yep. John, you're welcome. Glad you liked it. Feed the winners and starve the losers. Feed the winners, starve the losers. Okay. Oh, that's probably builders is referring to, I would guess. Justin, I'm in Redding, California, and prices are hard to make cash flow right now. If I can find a single family that cash flow is positive, even if it's barely, should I do a deal anticipating rent price increases? My answer to that is no. I don't anticipate anything. I don't use appreciation. I don't use rent increases. None of that stuff. I know what Dion from Dion Talk would say here, Justin, is what Dion did is he did the same calculations. I think he's in Spokane. Actually, I don't know where he's at. He's in Washington somewhere. And he couldn't get his houses to cash flow, so he ended up going small multis, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. So again, I don't know Redding at all, but maybe, pull a Dion and see what if small multis might cash flow. I have no idea. But no, don't ever buy a deal betting on anything. Don't ever bet on appreciation. Don't ever bet on increased rents. I think that gets people into sticky situations. Hey, Palvi, how are you? Good morning, everyone. Yep, ORAT. One rental. I like that. I like that acronym, ORAT. Justin, I just lost a deal of a single-family home with above garage. Oh, ADU, cool. Using my VA loan. I'm sorry. They went with conventional offer, even though my offer was higher. Any advice? Well, I mean, I guess what you're asking without asking is why that might be. The simple answer is VA loans are they're hard on sellers, right? The VA loan process is awesome for you, Justin. Thank you for your service. But as a seller, a VA loan is very painful. Inspections, conditions, requirements. That is why a seller will go with a conventional offer that is lower, right? The conventional offer may have said, as is, for example. VA loans can't be as is because, again, they're typically very highly leveraged. So, yeah, that's why it happened, is the conventional buyer, the seller believed that the conventional loan would actually net them more and be easier. That's why it happened, unfortunately. My answer is keep trying. I believe, as I've said, many more inventory is coming. I think going after a single family home with an ADU is a genius move, and frankly, how I would use my VA loan if I could. So my thoughts to you is keep going, track the listing. Maybe it doesn't close. You never know. But let this one go. Move on to the next one. There's plenty of deals out there. Mike, how do you feel about investing in Tucson, Arizona? Arizona is 2 hours south of Phoenix. Don't know Tucson. Frankly, don't know Phoenix. I only know Phoenix from what I read in the paper about it being hot. Well, if you know my story, Mike, I live in the Bay Area and invest in a market 2.5 hours away. So I'm clearly comfortable making that drive. If you're asking me, is 2 hours too far? The answer clearly is no. I'm a living example of that. But again, I don't know Tucson, don't know Phoenix. But again, live where you want, invest where the numbers make sense. And if the numbers are better in Tucson, you have your answer. Thoughts on Washington state real estate? I think talking about any state is too large, right? Seattle's different than Tacoma, different than Bellevue. I think when you talk states, it is fraught with you're going to be wrong, right? Because if I talk about Washington and I use the context of Seattle, you're going to get 80% of the people saying you don't know what you're talking about because I'm not in Seattle. So I'd be careful. I don't know anything about Washington State. Probably should ask Dion, who's right below you, what he thinks of Washington. He's in Tacoma and Olympia, apparently. So yeah, I don't generally talk about states because real estate is far more local than that. Maybe cities, but not states. Good morning, Dion. How are you? Ultimate Bargains, Jeffrey. Question: are you looking for creative finance deals to stress sellers? I know such deals are very rare for now. I am. I am ramping marketing to that. I'm actually marketing to, for the first time, I am marketing to owners who have been in their home less than 2 years. So yeah, ramping now. You have to ramp now to get returns later. It takes consistency. But yeah, I fully expect creative finance deals to expand really next year, but you got to lay the groundwork now. That is why I added seller financing or creative financing to my course. It's why, if you do a subject to deal, for example, and you're one of my members, that counts, right? We're trying to do 500 deals. And I think some of them absolutely will be creative financing. It wouldn't shock me if 100 or 150 are creative financing. That's why it's in the course. That's why it's there. Seller financing, subject to. Yeah, I'm starting marketing now. Hey, Corey, when do developers decide just to scrap a deal and return the deposits to buyers? I don't know. I don't have any experience with that. The answer very likely is when they realize the project is going to cost money and not make money. There are plenty of developers out there right now that are kind of half pregnant, if that makes sense, meaning they've already got the curbs in gutters or curbs and electricity run, all of that. So they've got to go, but they're just going super slow. But I would think there's some developers that maybe bought land and it's just too slow and you can't get approval, all of that. The answer is I don't know. And the only thing I could say is when they know they're going to lose a lot of money. I don't know. I just bought in Tucson, very low prices compared to CA, but reflects wages, employment, very depressed. Oh, depressed. Oh, that's interesting. Don't know anything about Tucson. Hey, Layla. Oh, where we go? Renter that was non-paying since last October just walk in a check for 85% of the balance. I call that a victory. Congratulations. Yep. I actually think that's going to happen quite a bit, right? All these people talking about 10 million people going to suddenly be homeless, I think is a crock. I have people playing games, and once they realize the jig is up, many of them are just going to pay, or they're going to work out a payment stream. Yes, there will be some people that get evicted. If you don't pay your car payment, they take the car, right? It's going to happen. Yeah. Looks like Mike is talking to Nathan, I think, or somebody. Yeah, Nathan, yeah. So Tucson, okay. Service tax is very high. Don't recommend to buy in Seattle area. Let's see. Okay. Good morning. I'm from San Diego. How can I find a portfolio lender? I talk to a lender that does portfolio loans every Friday. I think it's called Velocity Mortgage. There's a link below in the description or email below in the description. They're out there. It shouldn't be that hard. There's plenty of what is that name? Shorishig. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Just type in NQM, non-qualified mortgage. That is a new category between hard money and bank. That's where Velocity Mortgage plays. But just type in your Google search bar, NQM lenders, non-qualified mortgage lenders, and you will you'll find them. They're not that hard today. Yep. So you did a payoff stream. Cool. What criteria do you use to determine whether to burr or flip a property? I know that going in, Sean. One of the things that I'm big on is once I get a property locked up, I'll go walk it or see it, and I declare my plan that day. I don't like bouncing around, right? Oh, I might burr this. Oh, burr didn't work, then I'll flip it. Oh, it didn't work, then it's a long-term rental. I think that is that doesn't lead to a smooth business. So I know what I'm going to do with my property before I close. That's the answer. I would tell you the last 2 years, I flipped a lot. I am not kidding, folks. I am not selling very much this year. I am not playing that game. I do believe that they're going to come out and raise capital gains tax and income tax on, that will hit my level. So I'm just not going to sell. I'm going to build up my base, add depreciation. I want to buy millions of dollars in houses and increase depreciation. I'm not going to, capital gains is an optional tax, and I'm going to option not to play. So the rich going on strike, I mean that every time I say it. Just not going to play. And now that they're talking about making it retroactive to April 28th, I'm not going to sell anything. So yeah, crazy. Where was I? Sorry, I got distracted by my rant. I'm sorry. Yep, portfolio loans, cool. Sure, we can ask people if they know Tucson. Sure. Both sold Bothell, bought 2 places, 1 pure rental, 6 months renters. Okay. Yep. Have an exit plan before you enter. Yes, exactly my point. Yep. Well, again, I don't know. Is it worth using a portfolio lender? It kind of depends where you're at. If you have no investment loans, then no, it's not worth it. Go get bank loans, right? Your first 4 loans should be easy. Your first 10 should be relatively easy. Why go get a portfolio loan if you can go get 30-year money at 4%? If you're at my level and portfolio loans are the only thing you could get, then of course it's worth it. So it depends where you are. What time is the Facebook meeting? It is, Nathan, it is 9 a.m. Right after this. You need to ask to join the group. If you're a student of mine and you haven't, and you have Facebook, obviously. Lots of people don't have Facebook. Believe me, I totally get it. You have to ask to join a group called One Rental at a Time Works, and I have to approve you. So Nathan, if you just bought the course, you need to go to Facebook and ask to join that group. I'm going there right now on my phone to see if I see any requests. I don't see a request. So yeah, if I haven't accepted you, you need to ask to join and I'll accept you. But it starts in 17 minutes. Where are we? Okay, Corey. When you mailed your check for federal income taxes owed last month, did you grind your teeth? Oh my God. I haven't been that upset in a while. I don't like writing 6-figure checks to the IRS. No, I was upset when I wrote it. I was upset when I put a stamp on it. I was upset when I had the teller give me a receipt for delivery. Yeah. I was upset, but then, lucky enough to be in a position where I could write it and it wouldn't bounce. That was cool. That wasn't always the case in my life. But yeah, I was going to say I was past it, but clearly I'm not past it because I can still feel that. Yeah, I need to do a better job of planning my taxes. I need more depreciation. I need to sell less. It was a lesson learned. That won't happen again. That won't happen again. Yep. There we go. Okay, so you requested access. Cool. That's funny. Ultimate Jeffrey, you're so fun. All right, folks. So I think I got everybody. Oh, I think I got everybody. Yep. What we'll do is shut this down. I need to get another cup of coffee. And if you're one of my students, I will see you in the group. If you're still watching, where are the thumbs up? We got 90 people watching. Oh, 25 thumbs up. Thank you. If you want to be a part of helping me get to 500 deals, let me know if they've closed. And if you need help focus and getting started, link below to the course. Course is called How to Get Started, One Rental at a Time. I will see you in the Facebook group shortly. Bye-bye.